Peace to everybody. This is about Jada Pinkett-Smith and Tupac, a rare friendship. So, Tupac and Jada Pinkett-Smith, they had a very rare friendship over the years before Tupac allegedly passed away. And as you can see here in the picture is Jada Pinkett-Smith and Tupac. The relationship between Jada Pinkett-Smith and Tupac continues to prompt much in the way of theorizing. So they pretty much had a rare relationship that continues to prompt much in the way of their theorizing. Willow Smith and brother Jaden both dropped albums last month. Their parents, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett-Smith, while still widely famous for their acting roles in Pinkett-Smith Red Table Talks, aren't really presences in the music scene anymore. Give or take an Aladdin track or two. So Willow and Jaden are both brother and sister. They both dropped an album last month. I don't know what their albums are, but they both did last month. They dropped an album. Alright, so their parents, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett-Smith, are still widely famous for their acting roles and of Pinkett-Smith's Red Table Talks. And of course, give or take an Aladdin track or two because, of course, Will Smith had starred in a movie called Aladdin that was released into theaters not too long ago. However, while Pinkett-Smith has never been a musician herself, she has deep ties to one of the hip-hop's biggest stars, the legendary West Coast icon Tupac Shakur. Their friendship started at an art school in Baltimore and was a thorny but passionate one. It ended on a sour note before he died. So Jada Pinkett-Smith and Tupac Shakur, Jada Pinkett-Smith met Tupac Shakur on the legendary West Coast. They both started at an art school in Baltimore with a thorny but passionate one. Of course, Jada Pinkett-Smith herself has never been a musician, so we know all that. She only acts, that's all. She's an actress, that's it. Nothing else. No musician at all. Of course, it ended on a sour note before he died, so we don't know how their friendship ended, but something must have gone wrong or whatever happened. Their history has come up a lot in interviews with Pinkett-Smith up till present day and has continued to fuel much speculation. Here we explore what went down and why they meant so much to each other. Alright, so Tupac and Jada Pinkett-Smith, they had a history together. I'm pretty sure it's a very long history. It has come up a lot in interviews with Pinkett-Smith up till present day. And of course, she tells her stories as well about Tupac. Here we explore what went down and why they meant so much to each other. So Tupac and Jada Pinkett-Smith had really meant a lot to each other. Pinkett-Smith sat for a long-ranging interview with Howard Stern in 2015 that touched on several subjects, but the topic that garnered the most buzz was when he asked about her relationship with Shakur. Stern begins by pointing out that the two were close and that Shakur wasn't the gangster that we all think he was. Pinkett-Smith confirms this, and the two discuss Shakur's mother's involvement with the Black Panthers. Allegedly, he was a revolutionary without a revolution, Pinkett-Smith says. and that revolution transferred on to a whole other thing. Alright, so Jada Pinkett-Smith has set for a long-ranging interview, of course, with Howard Stern in 2015. They touched on several things, on several subjects. I don't know what kind they were, but they did. Stern begins by pointing out that the two were close, and that Shakur wasn't the gangster that we all think he was. And of course, Jada Pinkett-Smith has confirmed that. And also Shakur's mother involvement with the Black Panthers, allegedly. He was a revolutionary without a revolution, Pinkett-Smith said. Stern pivots quickly to the relationship, which Pinkett-Smith says was never romantic. Now being older, I have more of an understanding about what that was between us, she said. You have two young people who have very strong feelings, but there's no sexual chemistry at all, she goes on. Alright, so Jada Pinkett-Smith and Tupac Shakur, they never ever had a sexual relationship with each other. It was just friendship only, nothing else. And of course, I guess she says I have more of an understanding about what that was between us, and that's what she said. And she says you have two young people who have very strong feelings, but there's no sexual chemistry at all. There was nothing like that going on between them. If Pac and I had any sexual chemistry, we might have killed each other because we were both so passionate, she says. It was just hard enough just to us being friends. We had a very volatile relationship. So she's saying if Tupac and her had a sexual relationship, they would have killed each other, allegedly. And of course because they were both so passionate with each other, and it was just hard enough for us being friends. So, I could understand that it's hard being friends, but you want to take that step more, but you just can't do it. And she could not do that with Tupac because the friendship meant so much to her. As times moved on, the two both became successful artists, with Tupac's rap career skyrocketing him to legendary status and Pinkett-Smith's acting career taking off. They reportedly drifted apart and began to argue. Pinkett-Smith told Stern that after Tupac's first time in jail, once he came out, he changed quite a bit. Stern asked what caused the ultimate rift in their friendship. Pinkett-Smith answers that she wasn't in agreement with the direction that he was taking. I just told him it was a destructive direction, a very scary direction. Alright, so as the time has moved on, of course, they were both successful artists. Tupac wanted to become a rapper, and that's what he did. Jada Pinkett-Smith wanted to be an actress, that's what she did. Of course, they both drifted apart and began to argue, and it's so sad that their friendship had to end. She told Stern after Tupac's first time in jail, once he came out, he changed quite a bit. And of course, after you get out of jail, you are going to change a lot, and it's just horrible. She also Pinkett-Smith answers that she wasn't in agreement with the direction that he was taking. Of course, he was on a destructive direction, and it was a very scary direction. It sure was, because he changed after he got out of jail, because I guess he must have hooked up with Suge Knight after that. If not, I don't know. Tupac took issue with what he saw was a shift in Pinkett-Smith's character as well. He felt as though I had changed. I got Hollywood, that I had gone soft. She offers retroactive. Alright, so Tupac also saw some changes in Jada Pinkett-Smith as well. He felt as though I had changed, and this is what he is saying, though, of course. Understanding going on to say that at that particular point in time, that materially was part of his survival for that moment, and it was actually a materially he started to come out of before he was murdered. And of course, understanding going on to say that at that particular point in time, they mentally was part of his survival for that moment. So they both had each other's backs, sort of, but not too much. So this is why their friendship ended. The actress has taken issue with the lifestyle and lyrics of iconic West Coast rappers that weren't Pac too. She famously called Eazy-E out for his lyrics in a clip of an unnamed talk show she posted on her Instagram. She tells the interviewer, "I was telling him that before I met him today. I would have thought that he was a woman hater because of his music that he writes." She holds him accountable, saying he, owning his own record company, can make a change starting from there within his community to uplift us. I do say nice things about sisters, says E, not willing to let him off easy. Pinkett-Smith responds, "You've gotta do it on the record." While she claims friendship with E, there isn't much of a record of their relationship outside of a few pics of the young stars together. She's never expressed a closeness to him or anything remotely resembling her intense love for the friend she eventually lost. So as you know, of course, Eazy-E has passed away a long time ago from alleged HIV. The actress has taken issue with the lifestyle and lyrics of iconic West Coast rappers that weren't Pac too. Of course, Easy says, "I do say nice things about sisters." So that, and of course, he's right, he did. Alright, and he also says, not willing to let him off easy. Pinkett-Smith responds, okay, so this is what Pinkett responded to. She also says, "You've got to do it on the record." While he claims friendship with E, there isn't much of a record of their relationship, and there wasn't really much of one at all. When the Pac biopic All Eyes on Me came out in 2016, Pinkett-Smith took to Twitter to share her feelings. She criticized what she saw as a false portrayal of her friendship with Shakur, writing, "My relationship to Pac is too precious to me for the sense of in All Eyes on Me to stand as truth." The movie features a scene of Pac reading his poem, Jada, to the actress in high school. However, she claims she wasn't aware of such a poem until the posthumous excuse me, I'm sorry. Posthumous publishing of his poetry collection, The Rose That Grew from Concrete. Alright, so there was an All Eyes on Me biopic that came out in 2016, and of course Jada Pinkett-Smith took to Twitter right away to share her feelings. She also criticized what she saw as a false portrayal of her friendship with Shakur. And writing, my relationship to Pac is too precious. Now, if it's too precious to her, why put it on Twitter? Why put it on Twitter if it's too precious for her? She should have put it in a journal or a diary or something to keep it private. So, excuse me, I'm sorry, this doggone dry throat. She should have put it in a journal, diary, something to keep it private to herself without the entire social media knowing about it. I mean, that's the only way to do it. However, she claims she wasn't aware of such a poem until the posthumous publishing of his poetry collection. And this is what Tupac had done. It's clear in every interview Pinkett-Smith gives about her relationship with Pac that despite the differences that ultimately divided them, she misses him greatly and deeply cherished their friendship. She told Stern that though she doesn't feel guilt for not being in touch with Tupac before he died, she feels sadness for not having the opportunity to tell him that I loved him, but I know he knew that. She once posted a picture on Twitter of the two hugging with the simple caption, "I miss him." Okay, Jada Pinkett-Smith posted a picture of Tupac on her Twitter account. Now, she also had captured it, "I miss him." So she does misses Tupac Shakur very much. She told Stern that though she doesn't feel guilt for not being in touch with Tupac before he died, and of course she feels sadness for not having the opportunity to tell him that she loved him. Well, no, not everybody can get their feelings about how they feel about one another. Some may keep it hidden in them, or they could just write it out in private and just keep it for themselves. It seems as though the troubled Pac found in Pinkett-Smith a friend who listened, cared, and challenged him when the rest of the world took him at face value, and in Pac she found an artist worth caring for so strongly that their relationship is still discussed and by Pinkett-Smith held closely long after Pac left us. Alright, so it's of course Pinkett-Smith, a friend who Tupac was a friend who had to Pinkett-Smith who had listened, cared, and challenged him when the rest of the world took him at face value. And of course, she was always there for him before their friendship broke up. And I guess she feels guilty of not having that friendship with Tupac no more. She closes out her interview with Stern by praising her friend. "He left a very strong and powerful mark," she says. "People are still inspired by him." Yeah, a lot of people are still inspired by Tupac. The way he was going to change things and everything else. But, unfortunately, somebody allegedly shot Tupac. And, of course, everybody's snitching on everybody. So we know where that's going with that. Obviously. Leave your comments below. I am out.